Things in the world are exploding, and yet I sit here just ready to paint stuff. What is up, everyone? Oh my god. Today is a day. Today is definitely a day. It is Thursday, the 18th of June. Very toasty in my office. And little Comsussor Todd to give my general feeling whenever I see bad news on the news, which is way too often, to say the least, which is why I don't read the news very often. So, hopefully everyone's having a good one. Before we get started, I will leave the music going while I talk. We have some thank yous to give out there to some people that apparently either all became members either today or over the last couple of days. So I'm going to read them out real quick. To Ren Kurogane CK, AT1235, Dave's Travels 1, Cameron Bowers 9347, D-Bone 5100, and Steven Choza 6391. Thank you all so much for becoming members, becoming zealots. I greatly appreciate you. Hopefully you enjoy the podcast Masters of Lore that we do every week, or just about every week, and, early access to other videos. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is that we will be doing members-only Q&A probably next Friday. Well, actually, wait. When is the last Friday of the month? Yeah, next Friday is the last Friday of the month. So, next Friday, we will be doing that. The plan is to do it around this same time. So yeah, let's go ahead and... Enough Evangelion. So yeah, that is the plan. That is what I plan on doing. I'm going to dual stream it to both Patreon and YouTube, so that people over on Patreon don't miss out on it. So, yeah, fun times all around. My arm is still sadly hurting. I have to call ortho tomorrow to set up an appointment to get this casted. Though I'm honestly going to ask them if they can just give me like a really good medical brace. Because I really don't feel like having my arm casted. I just don't. I hate stuff. I've had this wrist casted before when I was a kid when I first broke it. I don't want to do it again. I hated having that thing on me for 3 months. Having to hang my arm out of the tub if I took a bath. Or, like, showering one-handed. Fuck that. If I can not do that, I'm a happy camper. But, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. I see Noxie is here. Hello, Brother Mouse, my buddy. What is up indeed? Gabe the Gen is here. Luke S. Agaris, or Luke Sagaris, or something like that. Kriegsman is here, and Angry Bitter Nerd have all made themselves be known. Hopefully more people will show up as we go on. But, to answer Noxie's question, I am doing pretty well, all things considered. Aside from the wrist pain, I'm pretty happy. What's even better is that, even with the messed up meniscus in my right knee, there's not a whole lot of pain anymore. The anti-inflammatories that they have me on now have been having an effect. So, in fact, like, any joint pain that I usually have, which is a fairly consistent problem that I have at my age, has been pretty much alleviated by it. So, it's quite nice. Like, I get a little bit in my elbow, where I had tennis elbow last year, but it could be much worse. So, before we get into the painting today, I have something to unbox, and I have something else to show off. So, real quick, bear with me for just a moment. Where is my Sharpie? There it is. I have to redact my own address from a package real quick before we unbox this, because I do not want to dox myself. Also, I'm waiting on a text message from my sister. Since I do not currently own a car, I'm probably going to get one within the next year. But because I don't, oh, cover coats as well. That's a good idea. This is why I keep a big black Sharpie in my apartment. So I can do stuff like this. And it does not take long to do. But as I was saying, but because I don't currently have a vehicle, because I've had to put money towards other things lately, I am going to be, I'm not going to be able to see my dad for Father's Day, which sucks, but it is what it is. But I'm going to send him a gift. So, but I forgot his address. So I texted my little sister. I'm like, hey, what's Dad's address? And she didn't answer. So I texted her again. And I'm going to probably have to bug her for 2 days straight. Which is not good because Father's Day's on Sunday. And knowing Dad, you know, what he's going to do, he's going to go to church, he's going to preach a sermon, and then go straight into eating the ribs that he will have in the oven that he always finishes on the grill. My goal at some point is one of these Father's Days to go there and do all the cooking for him. I'm very lucky that when I was adopted by my family, I got adopted into a very good one. So, it's just one of those things I try to pay it back when I can. Alright, so I got a box in from USA Gundam Store. And we're going to get to do something that I've been talking about doing for a while. I didn't know when these were going to get shipped out. And honestly, I have a feeling that I should probably buy another one of these before Bandai puts the kibosh on them. Because what I have here, the box over there, is an LED set for the unicorn. It is effectively supposed to mirror the LED set that is in the Master Grade EX unicorn. Meaning that if I don't want the MG EX unicorn and I don't want to spend like $250 on that fucking kit, I don't have to. I could just buy this. No, this hasn't been fucked with yet by Bandai, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do, because I don't know how often they're gonna reprint that MGEX kit. Because like the cost of them has gone up to like $300 on most stores that I have seen. So this is basically, this kind of lets you cheat the system, because any because this is, I think, from North Korea. I'm sorry, not North Korea. This is Korean. Or it's Chinese. I don't remember. It is Chinese. But, basically, the neat thing about it is it has a remote control for your lighting settings. Now, I don't know how well this is going to work with the Banshee Norn that I own, because it's got orange Psycho Frame. So, not a big fan of the MG Unicorn thing as a hand grenade. Apparently, the MG EX had some improvements made to it. So, I don't know. But yeah, it's one of those things where like I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. The benefit of the MGEX is the 3 funnel shields also have their own LEDs in them, which would look really cool. So we've got the remote control here, which the instructions, like all the labels on this are, looks like Chinese. So it's an import, but here's the power and the switch for it. It's actually powered by a USB. You can literally plug this into your computer via a USB-C and power it, which is pretty dope. But there is a battery backup here, which is good. What else is in here? Another remote. And then the LEDs themselves, plus screws and things like that that you might need. The USB cable for the power. Another cable for the power. They give you a lot of options with this. And then the LEDs specifically are in a static-proof bag. You can see here. That out of the bubble wrap. And there's the LEDs. That's basically just what it is. You just follow the instructions from your kit. You wire these along with it. The one downside that I have heard from people who own the MGEX Unicorn and have put LEDs into stuff, it's not very flexible. You can't do a lot of poses with it. So you're basically just putting it together to sit in your collection and glow every once in a while when you have guests over. That's basically it. But I'm fine with that because that's what I plan on doing with it. So I'm going to go ahead and set this over in the pile of shame. Sorry if you heard a beep. That's not you, it's me. It was my, I have a wireless keyboard and mouse, so they go to sleep whenever I don't use them for a bit. Oh, I forgot to put the power cables back in the box. So we got that going on. Another thing I'm thinking to do, I don't know if I'm going to end up doing this. It kind of just depends on how streams go. If people continue getting memberships and throwing super chats at me, I will probably consider streaming twice a week instead of just one. And what I would do on that other day is paint these little guys. I don't know if it's going to focus on him. It's trying to focus on my face. And I don't want it to. There. Come on. Maybe I need to get more light on it. There it goes. Oh, now it went back to me. Stop that. Stop with that. Focus on this. There it goes. But yes, this is a intercessor from 40K. I still need a couple other things to do these, but I have assembled 6 of them, which is 1 squad and an extra sergeant. So, the funny thing about it is that those are not ones that are in my official list for what I use. Though they might be in my salamanders list. I don't remember. Let me have a look. Let's see here. So, salamanders. Oh, that's my tag team list. It's not the one I need. I need my... I wish I could sort by... Oh, here we go. It is the BS Sally list. So, do I have intercessors in this? Yes, I do. But the sergeant is supposed to have a thunderhammer, which is an option for them. But the problem is that there's not one in the box. So you have to get, like, expansion parts and shit to equip him with that, which is kind of unfortunate. However, since it is salamanders, one thing you can do, and yes, I'm fully aware that Games Workshop is very good at nickel and diming people, but one thing you can do, let me go over to Amazon real quick. Is you can pick up one of these, which is the Primaris Upgrades and Transfers. And one of the things that you can do is add a Thunderhammer. Though there isn't rules for a Pyre Pistol, so I don't think that you can use that on Intercessors. But if you don't plan on using the Mini for competition, you just want to make him look cool, you could just do that. But yeah. One thing that's really cool about this set, though, is that I think there's like 3 of those Thunderhammers there. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing. I'm sorry. So these Thunderhammers here. Like I said, an Intercessor an Intercessor Sergeant can equip these. So if you do that, basically, well, duh, you just have it. But the really cool thing is that if you have Blade Guard veterans, you can actually equip them with Thunderhammers, and their rules don't change. So it's a neat little thing. Which that's what I want to do. Is like if I ever do, because my Salamanders list has Blade Guard veterans in it. So what I would do is give them the braziers as their iron halos, and then give them Thunderhammers instead of swords. But it's a really cool expansion set. There's that goofy helmet. God, this helmet right here, guys. This one right here. I love the Salamanders. Y'all know I love the Salamanders, but that helmet in Space Marine 2 looks terrible. It looks terrible. Mouse can attest. It's not a good looking helmet. But it looks so much cooler without the top helmet stuff. Like, just the rebreather looks dope as fuck. So, how's the wrist doing? Good. And we just started, Angelo, so we have not started painting yet. Because I don't have my gloves on yet. But yeah, I actually have outright considered building two armies, building a Raven Guard army and building a Salamander's army, just like depending on what we're doing. Do I prefer the older helm? I'm very particular with Space Marine helmets. So let me kind of give you an idea. There is actually a new set of helmets that are going to be coming out that you could buy off the Warhammer 40k website. Wrong button. It's just heads, which is so cool. And in this, you have my favorites, which are the Mark 6 Corvus, the Beaky, the Mark 7, actually, wait, is that a Mark 7 or an 8? I actually don't, Fuck. Was it the Mark 7 that had the tubes? Yes, it is. Mark 8 did not have them. So you have the Mark 7 helmet right over here, and then you have the Mark 8 right here. I am a big fan of the Mark 6 and 7. Those are probably my favorites. And you're not wrong, Adam Seeker. You are not wrong. But I like the Mark 10 helm too. I think the Mark 10 helm looks really good. But yeah, if I ever decided that I just wanted to paint like a Captain Titus miniature, just for the sake of painting a Captain Titus miniature, I would give him this helmet here, the one with the Crux Terminatus on the forehead and the Laurels of Victory. Because that's what his helmet looks like now, is he has a Mark 10 with the laurels. But yeah, these are really, really cool looking. I especially love the this old school. This is the Mark 7 or the Mark 8 with the sideways plume. This is like a Blade Guard veteran helmet right here. It's just really, really cool looking. You know, you've got a couple Terminator heads, one with a bionic eye, one without. So this one right here you could use on Calgar's miniature if you wanted to. If you're running Calgar in the armor of Entriclicus. I don't remember how it's pronounced, but his Terminator armor. Because for those who don't know, Calgar with Terminator armor has been out for a while. They released that, and you can pair him with, I think, Vitrix Guard, and you could also pair him with Terminators. Which I would figure that would be the second one, is what you will have the Terminator armor for. You know? Have you ever thought of a Gundam X Warhammer Master Grade paint job like Acadian Use Nemo or Slaneshi Wyndham? Seed Cucks or Degens after all. I have not thought of that, but I thought of the opposite. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the channel Warrior Tier. You might see him pop up in the chat on occasion. He and I just had a conversation, because I'm starting to kind of, make connections with other YouTubers and stuff like that. And we had a conversation about it, and about like Gundam and 40K and stuff that we're doing for our respective channels. And I actually offered to write an episode of his series for him if you wanted me to. But the thing that I thought would be really cool is you take a knight and you create and you have a knight from 40K that's colored like a Gundam. I thought that would be really, really cool. So, and I'm surprised that there's no Gundam fans that are also 40K fans that haven't done something like that. Like the House of Rey, you know? At least I think it would be cool. And who knows, maybe I'll do that some point. But yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking if streams continue to go fairly well, I will probably start doing 2 a week. Probably one on one. And what I would probably do is like miniature Mondays, and then like Gundam Thursdays or something like that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how things go. Because last week, like, people dropped like $80-90 in super chats. So I'm like, yeah, people seem to want me to do these streams. So yeah, so what I'm going to do every stream is I'm going to put a goal up, and if we reach it, we did pretty well. So yeah. Now, on to painting. Stuff we're doing this week, just to kind of give you an idea of where we left off, because I ended up finishing the hip armor for the Stark Jegan that we're doing. And it came out quite well. Yeah, let me grip him. Don't use the broken hand, Micah. He's looking pretty good. I don't know why his head is cocked to the side. He's confused by what you're saying, chat. He's confused by what you're saying and why you're saying it. He's looking at your search history and wondering what the hell is wrong with you. Also, Jeremiah Hembry, member for 15 months. Thank you very much for renewing it, buddy. He says, what are the 10 dumbest decisions in Warhammer? God, that's a really good question. 10 dumbest. I don't know if I can come up with 10 off the top of my head, but I can come up with a few. The first one, not telling the Primarchs about the warp. Letting them find out. The second, the burning of Monarchia. The third, planning to kill all of the Adeptus Astartes and all basically meta-humans once the Great Crusade was officially over. Because that's what they were planning on doing. So there's 3 right off the bat. Those are huge ones too, because, and it's part of the reason that Horus decided to turn traitor, because what Horus figured was going to happen is at some point humanity would have domain over the universe, right? And the Empire would be massive, which it is right now. The Imperium is huge. But you would have all of that, and what Horus figured is that each of the Primarchs would have a dominion over a part of space, and they would govern it. Because all of them had been trained in statescraft and things of that nature. And if you think about it, like, at least the level-headed Primarchs would have been good at it, you know? Obviously, like, Conrad Kurz and Angron would fucking suck at it. And they would probably at some point have gone to war with the Imperium anyway. But, you know. But the thing is like, if Angron had not known, if he had known about the warp, I genuinely think he would have taken up the offer to have the nails removed from his head. I have no doubt. If Typhus, or rather, if Mortarion knew about Nurgle, the instant he found out that he gets an inkling about Typhus, he kills him, and then the Death Guard don't become traitors. So on and so forth. It would have changed so much. Because you have to keep in mind, the revelation of the warp and telling a Primarch about chaos made them, like, that would have been not join the Imperium. We're talking about Corvus Corax. Made him a loyalist because he knew that the alternative to the Imperium was eventually things were going to get far, far worse. So, what about the Months of Shame? That's another one. That's specifically the Inquisition. The Grey Knights for trying to kill civilians and guard members that were leaving Armageddon. Pretty sure Angron would have been a vegetable if he had the nails removed. According to Malkador, he could have removed them. And he would have still been alive. So, that's according to Malkador, though. Alright, let me go ahead and start moving over here. Move my microphone. And then, switch camera views. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Any updates on Double Zeta? I'm gonna go ahead and take my hat off. So, as of right now, I have one more script to do this week that I'm probably going to do on Friday or Saturday, which is going to be the Tres Cusronata video that I promised ages ago. That one's going to take me a minute to do. It'll take me a couple of days to finish, but it will get done. I have to review a couple of scripts this evening. After the Tres video, I am going to hopefully get everything done for Double Zeta. At least the script. Because I have about, I think, 8 more episodes to watch in the first third of it. And then we will be kosher with that. So let's get the gloves on, shall we? This is not easy to do. I admittedly got ones that were kind of small. I need to see if they, because this was large and they're still stupid tight. I'm gonna have to see if there's like XL nitrile gloves. They don't cut off my circulation or anything, but it's still, as you can see, like my chubby arm just is not liking it. So, but yeah, the thing about those videos, the Gundam Explained ones, is that they take me a while to do. And really, I don't want to do multiple per year because those are, like, when they're done, the compilations are 3 to 4 hours long. Hell, I still need to do a video on Sentinel, which I haven't finished reading because it's so fucking dry. I'm not a big fan of it, honestly. Alright. We have gloves. So, let us commence. So what we got to do today is we have to paint 4 pieces of the inner frame and then the outer armor. So we're going to focus on the inner frame first, and then go from there. I think Zeta's was around 5 hours. Wouldn't surprise me. That one took a chunk out of me emotionally. You could kind of hear it by the end. I was fucking spent. Like, I shit you not, when I finished that video, I slept for 14 hours after I finished recording it. And I wasn't fucking around when I started to tear up with the Emma thing. Like, that episode hits me hard. It's like, Riders in the Sky, that episode is one of the best single episodes of any anime ever. And it is so goddamn emotional that even an old bastard like me gets kind of misty with that shit. So, all right, let's get you guys in here. Extend the camera out a little bit. Yeah, it's a good view, right? Yeah, Emma is the best. She's my favorite, at least, like, good guy Gundam girl. Y'all know who my actual favorite is. You know. Never ask someone who hates Zeon the name of his girlfriend. The name of his Space Noid girlfriend. Just never do it. So let's get some primer going here. And as you all know, I have a tendency to just eyeball this. You slept better knowing you never have to touch seed again. I'm not gonna lie. I'm curious about this Seed Freedom fucking prequel that they're gonna do. I want to know the horrors of Mike. That still tickles me. The fucking enemy that they're chasing at the start of it is just a dude named Mike. Like, yeah, it's Michael, but, like, we all know what the shorthand is. There was a Seed fan who got big mad at me for saying that. I'm like, dude, if you're trying to tell me that a dude named Michael in the course of his lifetime was never called Mike by anyone, you're fucking stupid. Mix, mix, mix. Then again, I hate to be mean. I really do. There's a lot of Seed fans that I have seen that need to touch some motherfucking grass. Like, good lord, man. Log off. Play a game with your friends that isn't fucking Genshin Impact. You know, like, do something productive. You know? That's actually why, like, the end video, like the end screen of these streams flat out fucking says, now go do something productive. Go cook your own meals, go build something, yada yada yada. Like, don't just fucking sit around and do a whole lot of nothing. Because it's very bad for your mental health to do nothing. I would know. I have a point of my life where I just did nothing. And it is one of the biggest regrets of my whole existence. Yeah, those Melvins. That's how I put it. Have you heard the diabolical news about Gundam X getting officially released on YouTube, but with subtitles done by AI? They don't give a fuck about Gundam X, man. Like, this is something that I have... I want to turn off my AC. It's nice and cool in here. That is something that a lot of people don't seem to understand about fucking Bandai. They don't give a fuck about Gundam X. They really don't. And it's so stupid because there are already official subtitles that were done years ago. So it's like, guys, what the fuck are we doing here? But it's just the nature of the Bandai beast. They just don't give a fuck about Gundam X. And to be honest with you, Gundam X is like, it's called a cult favorite of Gundam for a reason. It doesn't have that big of a following, despite what some people might like you to think. It doesn't. People don't think about Gundam X very often. And it's sad to say because it's a good series. Like, X and Double Zeta are black sheep for some reason. Well, that's the thing. Double Zeta is not even that much of a black sheep, at least not in Japan. Double Zeta pulled good numbers in Japan for its ratings. Pulled very good numbers. But the problem, and I mentioned this in the video, is like there was inevitably going to be a Gundam show that was not going to be a huge ratings draw. It was going to happen to at least one of them, and Gundam X just ended up being in the barrel. Not to mention, and a lot of it also didn't help that, like I mentioned in the video, Japanese television wanted shows that were much more safe for advertising, you know, so they wanted something that they could sell big advertising blocks and know that it was going to actually um you know, bring in money, whereas with, you know, stuff like Gundam, a lot of the money isn't in the viewing, like the initial ratings. A lot of the viewing is in um is in the toys and stuff. And it's like I also said in the video about um here, I'm gonna turn the fan on and stuff. Sorry about everybody's eyes. But it's something I also said in the Urban Legend video, is that advertisers look for consistency whenever they're scoping out potential sales of advertising space. And it's not just a Japanese thing. It's like all over the world, that's what they look for, is consistency. If you're getting consistent ratings and a consistent viewer base, they're more likely to purchase advertising space during your block, you know? That's even true on like a smaller level. Like for those of us who do YouTube, like you've seen I get advertisements. You know, I have companies that have purchased ad space on my videos, like I did the whole thing with Mantis Sleep. And which I still use that sleep mask, by the way. But as a but like whenever I send out my media kit, the one thing that I'm telling my potential advertisers is that I get consistent views. Meaning that if I put your advertisement on one of my videos and put it on multiple videos, it is more likely to have success than with someone who gets inconsistent views. So it's just the nature of advertising and the nature of network television and things along those lines. And I'm of the opinion that's why Turn A got a full release. Like why it got all 50 episodes. Some people like to say, oh, it's because it was a Tomino series. I'm like, that's cope. That's cope. That's cope from Pete. That's bullshit. It's not just because of Tomino. Tomino's a legend, but he doesn't have that much pull with advertisers. If you look at the history of Yoshiyuki Tomino, that dude had to fight tooth and nail to get the things that he wanted done finished. And he didn't always have success. There's a joke about the pitch for Ideon of how he pitched it to Sunrise that talks about Ideon fighting for the people within its community and shit like that. Where he's basically pitching it like a generic Super Robot show. Because he knew that would be more likely for advertisers to want to, or sponsors to get in on it. And of course, as we all know, that was total bullshit. So, you guys can't see what I'm doing. I'm an idiot. There we go. Get this leg nice and primed. And we got one more leg to prime. And we are set. Isn't there a manga about Tamino? There is. I forget the name of it. But I've seen pages from it. It's like, if you've ever seen the meme of Sayla's nipples are pink, it's from that manga. But from what I've seen of it, it's really funny. But apparently a lot of it's also accurate. Apparently Tamino is just a really quirky guy. Granted, you kind of learn this whenever you work with artists. All artists are. Whether it's a writer or a penciler or a colorist or what have you, all artists are quirky people. It's just kind of just inherent to it. Though the other thing that I will warn you about is that not only are a lot of artists really quirky people, there's also quite a few of them that are like full tilt divas. Especially more popular artists that you'll meet, like, can be like super divas. Largely because they know their worth, you know? So they don't like having their time wasted. And I can't say I'm any different. I tend to be like that. I fucking despise when people waste my time. It actually royally pisses me off. Like, I've had people that are not, like, friends of mine, like, DM me about whatever the fuck. And I will just, and if it's not, like, again, they're not my friends, so at a point I just go, what is the point of this conversation? What do you want? Because again, they're not my friends, so I don't know them. So it's like, why are we talking? Why am I here? And if it's just somebody that's like big mad, I just tell them to go away. Like, fuck off. I don't care if you're big mad. Time is money. And that's just like a natural progression also of just adult life. Is that the older you get, the more you understand what your time is worth. And you start to be more persnickety about where your time is and so on and so forth. Because trust me when I tell you, when you get older, you will love making money. You will start to love it because it feels good. Is Elgime good? Yes, Elgime is good. I have not finished it, but it is. Elgime is basically what if Yoshiyuki Tamino got to do Star Wars. That's basically what it is. And then, yeah, the real Setsunef say it puts it correctly is that Elgime is the series that got Mamoru Nagano to create 5-star stories. This super metallic does not have much in the jar. Put a little dab in there. Now, usually with this, when you start to mix it, I must have bought that jar a long time ago, because the stuff in it is very thick. Like this little dab right here, when you thin it, it will have it will paint a lot. We'll just put it that way. Did I see the new trailer for Brand New Day? I did. Or One More Day. Was it One More Day or Brand New Day? Brand New Day. It looks good. I'm gonna be watching it. I am curious who the villain is. Everybody seems to think that it's Jean Grey. And I'm like, why would Jean Grey be attacking the whole fucking city? That doesn't make any sense. So I have a feeling it's something else. Or someone else. The one thing I'm a little bummed about from the trailer, it looks like he makes very short work of the Scorpion. Which is, it's upsetting, because I really like Michael Mando. And I want to see him get more big screen time, because he's a tremendous actor. You're in the process of rewriting Seed. With giving all space colonies, all planet colonies. You're approaching it the wrong way, Kaizen. I'm gonna tell you that right now as a writer. You're approaching it the wrong way. You're worried too much about lore bits. You're not worried about the important stuff. Characterization and consistency. Because think about this for a second. When you're watching an episode of Gundam Seed, are you really thinking about the fusion reactors in the colony? No. You're not, and nor would anybody else that reads or watches it. That's what we call getting lost in the sauce. Lore is cool. I say that as a lore tuber. I like lore. But when it comes to telling a story, lore is secondary. What your primary is telling the actual story. And nobody gives a shit about how the robots of the colonies are powered. No one cares. And I'm sorry to be so blunt. I probably sound like an asshole. But it is the truth. Like, I will tell you this right now. Whenever it comes to anything that I've written before, I come up with the basic plot, and then I start writing the script before I ever think about the lore tidbits of how stuff works. I cross that bridge when I get there. This is something to keep in mind about stuff like that. In Gundam 00, those Gundams basically run on space magic bullshit. Is there an explanation for how they work? Yes, there is. And it's space magic bullshit. There's no real way to use solar energy to create anti-gravity fields. That's fucking stupid. Makes no sense scientifically. It's just there to say that it's explained and to make you go, ooh, fancy science stuff. So don't do that. Don't make that mistake. I see way too many writers make that mistake, and then the project never gets done. Because they spent too much time worrying about lore, not enough time worrying about the plot. What you need to be doing is you need to look at what the inconsistencies are in the characterization. You need to look at the contrivances. You need to look basically at everything that they did wrong when it came to the important parts of it. What can you do to make Lacus Klein not a Mary Sue? What can you do to make Kiriyamato not a Gary Stew? What can you do to make the villains more compelling instead of just being Hitler? Like, those are the most important aspects of the storytelling process. And I just spilled a bunch of paint. God damn it. You got me emotional! Storytelling is very important to me. Something I take very seriously. And I have mentored multiple writers at this point, and I've only met one who doesn't get lost in the sauce. One. Mad Bonds throws in $10. Thank you very much, dude. Says, any possible analysis on doing a rundown on sniper types in the Gundam universe? They seem to not be popular in Can. I might do something like that. There's a video that I'm going to be doing for the other channel that I work on, Mecha Files, where we're going to be doing a video about different types of mobile suits. And one of them is snipers. Because, yeah, they are criminally underrepresented. And then there's only been a couple of Gundams that are a couple of, like, popular mobile suits that specialize specifically in sniping. The Dynames obviously being the most popular. I think it'd be interesting to see an independent Space Noid faction sort of shakes up the traditional Earth-Xeon dichotomy. I'm actually doing something like that in a mecha series that I'm writing. Because I'm working on a mecha series called The Argonauts. The script is about half done. But it is, it's a series that's going to be more based on the Cold War as inspiration for it than World War II, like Gundam was. And still is at points. Unless it's G, which then it's based on Harry Potter. But yeah, that's something that I'm doing with it. I wanted to have three major factions, with one in the middle that I consider the troublemaker, and then the other two are kind of more normal, more just want to be left the fuck alone. But it is, I want to finish the script for it before um before I start doing any pages or anything like that. Because right now I have to focus on the stuff that is already making money or has made money in the past and continue those. But the Argonauts will happen. So right now what we're doing is we're focusing on Project Lazarus. We're focusing on getting the next Cyberpop book out. And then, we got the next Inglewood book that we're going to do. I'm working on that script. So, but it is going to happen. But the tough part about it is that book, I was working with someone on it, and he wrote a big like history of the setting. And then, we stopped hanging out. So, to effectively avoid any future copyright problems or legal issues, because basically I don't want the guy just showing up if it's a success and being like, hey, I want money for stuff that I didn't work on. I am effectively rewriting everything that he worked on out of the script. Because it is the second person that I have worked on a book with to where they just kind of flaked out on me, you know, and flaked out on a lot of things. So 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 yeah. Best reputation of sniper types more or less is build fighters? No, dude. The Dynamis. You quite literally have one of the 4 big mechs of the first season of Gundam 00 is a sniper. And probably the best one that's ever been, like, I love the Gym Sniper too. I love that all the Gym Snipers from the 1 Year War. The Dynamis is fucking awesome looking. Like, it's one of my favorite Gundam designs of all time. Okay. I'm actually going to have to do the rest of this paint job without gloves, because it gets very humid in here. And being in a humid environment with nitrile gloves is not comfortable. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to switch over to face cam. We're going to look at this real quick, because I'm kind of trying to figure out the design, like the paint, how I want to do this. So, and this is something that I do fairly regularly whenever it comes to whenever I'm working on one of these mobile suits, kind of how I want to color them. So, is what I'm trying to do is there is I think it's called the Jegan Heavy type. Yeah. This is the one that I'm basing the look on. I like this. Okay. Black for the top of the foot. Red for the foot itself. So these parts right here would need to be black and red. So, okay. So now we know how that's going to go. So, allow me to... I have to take my ugly mug off of the screen. I want to look at my pieces here. Specifically for the feetsies. So... okay. Specifically, I need to look at the back of the key. Hello, okay, ma'am. Okay, so let's look at the rear of the suit. Sorry, you guys can't see what I'm doing. Look at the rear of the suit here. So this bit right here, do it correctly, would need to actually be split between red and white. I don't feel like taping today. Let me check something. Actually, you know what? I'm being a big baby for no fucking reason. So, let me show you guys what I'm looking at. So here's the piece, right? Let me turn on the pin light. There we go. That is way too bright. You guys can't... okay, you can see it from this angle a little bit better. Okay, so to show you guys what I'm looking at, I'm going to use my little wrench here. So this part right here, on the Jegan Heavy type, this top part, is the red part, and then the rest of this is, or rather, this would be, hold on. I'm being a dummy. Yeah, so basically what we would just do is this part right here, this little sliver that's right here. You can kind of see the dip a little bit if I move it like that. This little sliver right here, we're going to tape off, and this will get painted white. And then the rest of this will be in red. Or what I could just do, actually, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to just paint the whole thing, or prime it all in white, and then I'll do it. So yeah. And that won't be too difficult to tape. So hey, you guys are going to get to see me do a little masking work. What are my thoughts on the Alpha Legion? I don't have a lot to say about them, really. I mean, they're pretty good bad guys. I oftentimes, whenever I see them, they are foils to the Raven Guard. And I feel like they fit that role very, very well. But the thing about the Alpha Legion, at least as far as I've noticed, is that they tend to be very, how do I put this? Very divided on how writers want to write them. Because some writers want to kind of write them as super spies. And there are other writers that want to write them just like a normal Chaos warband, but instead of using the Black Legion, they just want another Chaos undivided army, so they use the Alpha Legion instead. Because that's kind of how they're used in, like, Dawn of War. At least Dawn of War 1. You fight the Black Legion in Dawn of War 2. I need a black paint. Scooch these parts out of the way. What is this? This is dark blue. I don't need that. I know I have jet black somewhere. There it is. Right here. Can't see the label, but it's jet black. Slide that in there. It gets a primer. I'm going to have to put in an order for some more thinner. And some black primer probably on Monday. I get paid on Monday. I usually get paid a couple times a month for the work that I do. And all of my payments are like right in the dead center of the month. So I just paid an artist for the second cover of Project Lazarus, and then the first 5 pages are going to be done by this next week. So I'm going to be broke until next month. Do I like Cyberpunk Edgerunners? I did a review of it, actually. I think it was a pretty good one. It's just not, it's not one of my more viewed ones. Largely because it's not Gundam. A lot of people are just here for Gundam and nothing else, which is fine. I don't, but so usually, like, whenever I feel like branching out a little bit, I don't get as much views on it, so I don't do it very often. But yeah, I've seen Edge Runners. I enjoyed it. I wasn't as hyped about it as much as other people were, but it was good. Um, my whole thing was I didn't feel like it deserved Anime of the Year over the first season of Chainsaw Man. I didn't think that at all. I genuinely believe that the first season of Chainsaw Man like went over people's heads. Antoine Horton, buy some ramen on me, he says. Thank you for the $10. Thank you very much. Oddly enough, I had ramen for lunch. But it was just like instant ramen. It wasn't very good. I just used it to fill my stomach. Because I made the mistake that I sometimes make when I bought groceries this last week. I bought a bunch of food prep stuff and I didn't buy anything that was like a quick meal. So I'm like, shit. Because I have like 4 pounds of chicken and 4 pound or chicken breast and 4 pounds of chicken thigh that need to be thawed out. And I'm like, God damn it. So I'm probably gonna order out for dinner tonight. Might get a pizza. Ever that I'm doing a collab with Science Insanity? I do not know who that is. I do not often branch out for collaborations. I will tell you that right out of the gate. Largely because I am under the impression at this point that in the Gundam community I am not very well liked in certain circles. So that's part of the reason I don't branch out. I was genuinely surprised when I saw that Warrior Tier showed up in chat one time and that he was a fan of the channel. He's doing 40K stuff. And I have admittedly wanted to start branching out when it comes to stuff that I cover. Because I enjoy 40K as much as I enjoy Gundam. What are your thoughts on Abaddon? I think he's a good villain. I feel like the 13th Black Crusade recontextualized him in a much more positive light. I also feel like if you, because, and I have not read them yet, but I hear that the Aaron Dembski Bowden Black Legion books really flesh him out in a good way. Other than the Seed community, I don't see why people would dislike you. Part of it is because I used to be a Culture War YouTuber. Have a good night, Gabe. I used to be a Culture War YouTuber. So people look at me and having done that in the past and make certain assumptions about my character. But Patrick Sates crushed it as Abaddon. When did Patrick voice Abaddon? He's a perfect choice for him. But I don't remember when he voiced him. You'll have to let me know, Adam Seeker, because I'm curious. But anyway, oh, he did it in Dawn of War. Okay. But yeah, it's a big thing, like, where people make that assumption about me because I didn't used to do that content. And it's one of those things where I still keep up the whole the video on like woke comics and stuff. Um Largely because I just don't want a video that has like 500,000 views to just disappear. It's not good for your metrics. Oh wow, this thing's really on here. I'm gonna have to get a set of pliers to get this top off of it. But as long as I don't go full chud, you're okay with me. How is it that people see chud? Like, I have no clue how people view that sort of thing. I am just to describe myself like in my day-to-day life, I do not like politics at all. I think that it is a depressing topic that if I never had to talk about again, it would be too soon. You know? Do I have my leanings? Yes. I absolutely do, but everyone does. And my leanings are more towards independence. I like to be left alone by the government. That's it. It doesn't get more complicated than that for me. So if someone comes along and they want more government in their lives or in the lives of just normal people, my statement is just no, thank you. I do not want that for myself or other people around me. I want to be left the fuck alone to do what I want to do and say what I want to say. And I want that for everybody. And then we can all just decide who we want to be associated with. This thing really doesn't want to come off. Yeah, we're not going to go deep into politics. No worries there. Um, but that's my thing. That's all I want. And if you don't agree, you're actually welcome here. You don't have to agree with me. I I am perfectly fine with disagreement as long as we can all be gentlemen about it. All right, I am actually going to have to get a pair of pliers to get this fucking thing open. Bear with me for just a moment. Plug my phone there. What's my favorite Master Grade build so far? The Sinanju Stein, the initial one. There's a reason that it is my, it's my avatar. I'm very proud of my custom. Alright. Got it open. You know what's absolutely crazy about the busted up hand, or wrist rather? My grip strength is almost back to normal. Like, I'm healing pretty quick. I'm pretty stoked about it. The one area that it's kind of got me a little worried is just wrist flexibility, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Ooh, that is a really good looking black. Coming out a little thick. Might need to thin it down a little bit more. So far, so good. Yeah, that's a really good looking black. At least you didn't break the whole arm. Very true. I have been very lucky to have never broken a full-on limb. Just small bones. But it's all been on my left arm. My left arm is fucked. It's kind of sad. I've now broken my left wrist twice. I've had tennis elbow in my left elbow. I also have had some issues with my left shoulder in the past. Just like bad muscle strains and stuff like that. Yeah, that looks good. But yeah. I am gonna thin this out a little bit. Just a smidgen. To kinda, because I worry that it's gonna gunk up my brush. A little bit thinner. Nothing too crazy. Oh, that sucks, Adam Seeker. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Whoa! $5. Steven Chose that throws in $5 says, "Who wants to bet someone is dumb enough to be upset because Shar himself isn't on that list you made?" It's very well possible. I will just say this right now. Some of you guys are going to be very surprised at who's on the list. Because there are characters on it that I have been very critical of that I actually speak very highly of in that video. And a lot of it is because that character, even with the flaw wasn't necessarily with the character as much as it was the show around them. You know? Oh yeah, with a few drops of thinner, this paint is amazing. I can see why It's a Gunpla partnered with these guys. Because he has his own set of off-whites and grays that he did with them. That are really good, by the way. I actually have one of them right here. This is from his line. Maybe, Steven. I won't say no, but I won't say yes either. It's a secret. You have to watch the video. I mean, you're a member now. You can watch it. You can watch it right now if you wanted to. But don't spoil it for other people, please. The only thing I ask. $2 more. €2 specifically, since a little bit more than $2. From EB the GT5572 says a lot of people seem to hate the Gundam Marcosius. Which one was the Marcosius? I'm forgetting what that one looks like. Also, Antoine Horton, thank you very much for becoming a member. From the Urder Hunt. I will say the Marcosius, that if it's the one I'm thinking of, the design is a little busy. But I think it's a pretty good design, all things considered. I mean, it looks like it fits in with IBO. Got some gunk on the tip of my brush. Need to clean that real quick before we continue, because I don't want that gumming up the works. No. Do not want that at all. But yes, definitely thank you once again for becoming a member. I hope you enjoy the members' benefits, which of course includes 6 months of free access to, well, not free access, but 6 months of early access to the podcast Masters of Lore, which we try to do every week. And people seem to really enjoy it so far. In fact, the one thing I have noticed is that when it comes to memberships, once we started that show, a lot less people cancel their memberships after a little bit. I think people really feel like it gives good value. So that makes me very happy, because that's what my intention was. I want to make sure you guys are well taken care of. Because if you're giving me money every single month, you deserve to be taken care of. That goes without saying. I would like to think that I am a content creator worth his salt. So. A lot of people also like... Oh! Give me 1 second. Though technically a Garma, would Gaelio's Vidar in Season 2 work as a Char clone? He's kind of both. I personally think of him as if Garma were interesting. Because let's be honest, Garma ain't that interesting. He's there, but he ain't there long enough for you to care. He's just a kind of a villain with a little bit of sympathy because, you know, he was in love, to quote Jack Sparrow, with a girl. So you kind of feel bad when he dies. It's like, fuck, dude, that sucks. War is bullshit. This is stupid. Why do we do this to each other? You know, that sort of mentality. But yeah, he's kind of like if Garmo were interesting, but you could see him as a Shark clone a little bit. He is technically the antagonist to our main characters. But on the flip side, he has good reasons to do what he's doing. Because it's personal between him and McGillis. But I consider McGillis to just be the Shark clone of IBO. Whoa, there's a nub there that needs to get cleaned. All right. In just a second here. I think if IBO ever got a sequel, I'd see him in being like a Quattro Vegeta type. Honestly, what I want is a prequel. I want the Calamity War. I want to see what that world was like prior to what was going on. I want to see what happened before the fall. That to me is really interesting. Gotta make sure we prime this real good. We do not want color bleed through. So inevitably, whenever you're repainting a Stark Jegan, if you're painting white over green, you're gonna need a little bit more primer than usual, and you're gonna have to put at least 2 coats of paint on it. Just as a heads up. But I want to get these heel pieces done for everything else. I'm not going to use the knife on this. I'm going to sand it. Glass files, baby. The only way to go. Calamity War anime, best I could do is more Sneed. Yeah. It's very frustrating. Yeah, Gundam Seed, also known as Gundam Done by the CW. Okay, we'll give that a second to dry. This primer apparently needs a little bit more thinner in it. A little thick. But the big thing, and part of the reason that Seed gets pushed so hard, is it's huge in Japan. So you find a series that is basically, it's going to get prioritized because the anime division of Bamco prioritizes Japan over the United States every day of the week. Why do the Japanese like it so much? It's nostalgia. You have to keep in mind, Gundam Seed is the Gundam series of the anime boom. A lot of people who got into anime around that time are pretty easily nostalgia baited. And are extremely dedicated to what effectively defined a part of their childhood, both over in Japan and in the West. For example, make a negative video about Bleach here on YouTube. You will get fucking crucified. Which, granted, of all the big shonen from that era, I would rather watch Bleach than any of the others. It was better than Naruto, if nothing else. The Soul Society arc was the shit. Largely because it had a great intensity to it. And goddamn, that opening theme for that part of the show. Golly. It got you hyped to watch. Which is what a good opening should do, you know? Because it was kind of giving the idea that the stakes had changed, you know? Because if you hear, like, the first theme to Bleach, very mellow, right? Very relaxed. Then you get that Soul Society theme, and it is in your fucking face. You get the feeling that there's a sense of desperation in that story.
I'm not the biggest Bleach fan, but I will stand the Soul Society arc until the day I die. Like, that along, like, if you, like, what Shonen is capable of, I think if you look at the Soul Society arc, and then you look at, the Dark Tournament from Yu Yu Hakusho. Those, in my opinion, kind of show, like, what you can really do with it. That and the Namek Saga and DBZ. Like, so I'd say those three really show you what that Shonen can be pretty goddamn dope when it wants to be. But the question is, does it want to be? You know? Because part of the reason that I'm so hard on it is just because it can really drag itself out and then end up becoming really dull to the point where you just kind of lose interest. Like, a lot of shonen that I've watched have really bad pacing issues. Dragon Ball Z had that problem. Bleach is probably the biggest culprit, though Naruto is up there too. Because Bleach just felt that everybody needed a fucking flashback. Cell Saga was better than Frieza. To each their own. That was a good saga too. I think everybody could agree that after Cell, it just got a lot weaker. The Majin Buu arc just did not know when to fucking end. Not to mention, just as a villain, Majin Buu was not that interesting. I understood what they were going for with him, but it just, I don't know, it wasn't my thing. Cool design for all his forms, though. I will say, Super Buu was pretty great. Looked properly intimidating. And how he casually fucking genocides a planet, it's like, Jesus! But, like, anytime I've ever tried to get into a shonen since those halcyon days of my youth, it just doesn't really grab me, because a lot of times I just have a problem. Like, I don't really care about some of these side characters. I just want to see what the main character's doing. Like, Jujutsu Kaisen has the same problem. And it's not a bad series by any stretch of the imagination, but it just has the problem where, like, there's some fluff about the side characters, and I could not care less. Can we talk about Berserk and the new chapter? Sure. I thought it was pretty good. I don't understand why people are big mad about it. Like, I saw some people were getting big mad. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, do you people even read this manga? From the jump, they have been hinting that Guts somehow exists beyond causality. That he is an enigma. $5 from Steven Choza. Since you mentioned it, please stop lumping Naruto fans with Seed. Most of us weren't teenage girls, and we can acknowledge Naruto's faults. I will consider it, because you have paid me. There is an entire... Okay, Mouse does make a good point. There is an entire discourse about how you don't have to play games to be a gamer. And I think that's stupid. Yes, you have to play it. It's sort of like saying you don't have to paint something to be a painter. Yeah, you do. You know, that doesn't make you a gamer, because it's like, you're just watching Twitch streams at that point, which there's obviously nothing wrong with, but that's what's going on. But anyway. But yeah, people are big mad about it because they finally confirmed that Guts does indeed exist outside of causality, because, like, from birth. That there is a part of him that is part of the same spiritual realm that that Griffith is part of now. And the big question is, what does that mean for the future? Does that mean that Guts cannot kill Griffith? Is that why when he tried to attack him, the attack didn't do anything? Or is it something else? But yeah, the whole thing of, like, Berserk never, like, hinted at it, or people saying that's like, nah, dude, yeah, it did. They wouldn't highlight the fact that he was born from a corpse if it wasn't important. Some other, like, franchises will do stuff like that just to be edgy. Berserk is not that. Miura never did anything without purpose. And neither does Koji Mori. Speaking of Berserk, what jigsaw trap would I put Griffith in? The one in the car where his back is, like, cemented to the fucking seat, and he has to pull his own skin off. Alright, we're all primed. Good, good, good. How long have we been going? Um, 2 hours. Okay. I need to clean this brush out and stand up for a second. Because I'm not done. I want to keep going. I want to try to get this outer armor finished before we call it a day. But, yeah, you might not be wrong, Steve. I'm curious how it's going to play out, for sure. Berserk, to me, still is the pinnacle of dark fantasy. I don't think Game of Thrones touches it. I love 40K. I don't think 40K is as good as Berserk. At least I haven't read a 40K story that I would put on that level yet. It is, in my opinion, in a league of its own. And I say that when, by the way, there are some phenomenal Warhammer books. Well, Warhammer 40K. You won't catch me ever reading Warhammer Fantasy. I do not give a fuck. Fantasy fans puzzle me. Because they'll gripe about Marnius Calgar ripping the head off of a Khorne Lord of Skulls. But they won't get pissed off at Gotrek killing a fucking bloodthirster. Not even the Thankful books. I hear Thankful is really good. But I don't know if I would end up reading them. Everything I've heard about him is that he's a really good villain. I think the novel series that comes close to Berserk for dark fantasy is Way of the Wolf. Interesting. Fantasy fan, I don't mind the stuff the Space Marines do, except Kato, he's annoyingly arrogant. Yeah, hate on Kato Sicarius all day. You will hear no complaints from me. I don't like him either. Though I did like it when he stomped that one Tau. That was brutal. But yeah, I maintain that Kato Sicarius set back the Ultramarines like big time. Okay. What we're gonna do real quick. Thankful literally says there's more than one way to skin an infant. Jesus. Yeah, the Skaven are very fucked. A lot of memes get made about them, but they are fucking horrifying.
And one thing I will give people is that they are much more interesting than what I consider to be their parallel in 40k, which is the Tyranids. Tyranids aren't that interesting. They're fun fodder. Like, they're fun to beat up. But as far as, like, interesting factions go, don't really care. Largely because the one thing with, like, Tyranids are easy. Why are the Tyranids here? They want to eat everything. So what do? Stop them from eating everything. Okay. Simple idea. Kind of hard to fuck up. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're just going to spritz this one section with white. Not really going to worry about touching the other parts of it, because it's going to get painted over anyway. But we want to focus on just this one little sliver of the heel. Make sure it's got really good coverage, and it does. We're going to give that a second to dry, and then we're going to give it another coat. Thankless novels aren't really dark fantasy, they're black humor. Well, the two aren't necessarily contradictory. They can be both. A lot of people say the Imperium is a hybrid of the Empire of Man and the Skaven. Yeah, there's definitely some Skaven influence in it. Especially with, like, how often there are, like, betrayals and shit inside of it. Like, if you interact with much fiction about the Inquisition, you definitely start to see it. Or stuff with rogue traders. You start to see it. And you're like, oh, man. Fuck these guys. Alright. As you can see, this is a really good white. Now we're gonna let these dry for a couple of minutes before we tape them. Do I have a zit on my hand? It looks like I do. I'll have to take care of that later. Let's move away from the foot for a second. And start getting this stuff. But yeah, the dynamics of 40k just kind of interest me a little bit more. And even though it is space fantasy, just those little bits of sci-fi really just kind of make it a wonderful little creation. Not to mention, I just love that it. The big thing about it, I was talking with Mouse about this last night because we were playing Darktide. Is Warhammer scales, like, has scales to it, sort of like a comic book universe. And because it has those scales, it kind of has something for everybody. If you want a street level, low end kind of a story,
You can follow the Inquisition, the Astra Militarum, stuff like that. But then if you want stuff that's a little bit more mid-tier, a little bit more power, a little bit more superhero-y almost, well, then you've got your Adeptus Astartes, or some of your Eldar books. Not that anybody reads those. Sorry, I just felt the need to clown on Eldar fans a little bit. But in all seriousness, like, it has that sort of appeal to it to me that like, as a comic book reader, I used to love about Cosmic Marvel. Which, I mean, granted, it helps that Dan Abnett works on so many 40K books, right? Without Dan Abnett, the Guardians of the Galaxy would have never become very prevalent. They would have just stayed these obscure characters. Nobody would have heard about them. But because a certain guy named James Gunn apparently picked up Annihilation, he started reading more into cosmic stuff, and he really enjoyed it. And goddamn, do I hope that do I hope we get more High Evolutionary in the future? Guardians 3 was great. Looking snazzy. Give it a little touch up here and there. Very good.
Oh, man. There's not a mic issue. I just wasn't talking. I was really focused. Have I seen Predator Badlands? I have. It was pretty fun. It was an interesting take on Predator. Unlike what some people said, I don't need to see the same movie over and over again. I'd get on it, Kenneth. I'd get on it. Yeah, I was getting really focused. Admittedly, I just didn't have anything to say. I kind of ran out of stuff. This is just how I tend to get. I'm really talkative for a short amount of time, and then I get quiet. Largely just because I'm focusing on my work. Because I really want this to turn out well, and it's looking pretty good so far. I want to try to get all of this leg armor painted by the end of the day, or the end of the stream. But it is admittedly time consuming. They're going to be very cognizant of what areas are going to actually be seen by someone who looks at the kit. So, did I see Sheep Detectives? Never even heard of it. James Gunn did a better Superman than Snyder could ever hope in millions of a lifetime. Oh yeah, absolutely. Dude, I really enjoyed the James Gunn Superman. I'm a little bummed that Henry Cavill didn't get brought back to do it. But I think that James Gunn just kind of wants to leave all that Snyder stuff in the past. And just focus on his future. You know, focus on what he's trying to do now. But it's not like Henry isn't finding work. Like right now they're filming a remake of Highlander that Henry Cavill is the star in. And Dave Bautista is actually playing the Kurgan. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. Because the Kurgan is one of like Clancy Brown's best roles. So I'm genuinely curious how that's going to pan out. Might be a scientific fact that Gunn's Lex is superior. Oh, like far and fucking wide. Dude, the Snyder versus Lex Luthor is garbage. Fucking garbage.
Like, Jesse Eisenberg from the jump, to me, will always be a tough sell as Lex fucking Luthor. But it makes it worse that he wasn't written like Lex Luthor at all. Like, he was written like he was, yeah, Mark Zuckerberg. They're leaving the Queen music in the film? Hell yeah. Yeah, 1A, 1A, 1A. And just like how hyped he was getting about each single punch in Superman's face. Like, you could feel the hate. It was awesome. And the one thing I loved about it is like, they didn't make him fucking like millennial quirky, which that style of writing, it's done, it's over with, it needs to stop. People need to stop trying to be Joss Whedon. Zack Snyder's always be a hack. His bastardization Dawn of the Dead is on par with the Day of the Dead remakes. I wouldn't go that far. Dude, those Day of the Dead remakes are fucking, like, ass. It is ass on a fucking platter. It is. Oh my god. I mean, Nick Cannon is in them. Or in one of them. It's just different. It's not as good as the original, but it's just different. Part of the problem with the Snyder one is it's like it's overly edgy. You know? Like, it didn't need to be that edgy. But there's parts of it that are pretty good, you know. We're also getting our first DC horror film in Clayface. Yeah, that first trailer. Dude, I am stoked to see that movie whenever it comes out. I will be there with bells on. Like, they're not doing Basil Karlo, they're doing Matt Hagen. Which makes me very happy, because Matt Hagen, in my opinion, is the more interesting story. Granted, it helps that, like, my first exposure to Matt Hagen Clayface was Batman the Animated Series, where he's played by Ron fucking Perlman. Um, God, if there's one non-Gundam series I would absolutely do a deep dive of, it would be Batman the Animated Series. Holy shit. It's so good, guys. It's so good. If there are some of you in here that are like turbo weebs and you're not big on Western comics, I understand. Western comics these days are bad. Well, from the big two. My stuff is good, I think. I'm quite proud of what I've been able to do. But yeah, if you're like, I get it, but if you're a weeb and you have not watched Batman the Animated Series, just do it. Just watch it. It will make you realize why people my age get pissed off when you call stuff like that unk slop. Because some of you young guys do not understand how good my generation had it when it came to animated series, when it came to comic books, like all of it. We were fucking smoking everything else. It was so goddamn good, man. That's why I almost get like legit offended when people call it unk slop. It's like, dude, don't get mad at me because you grew up with shitty fucking gotcha games and things along those lines instead of proper stories like I did. I don't want to fucking hear it. Okay, so we've got all the white pieces finished. So now what we have to do, put the white paint away. Yeah, Batman the Animated Series fucks hard. Like, people don't even know. That's one thing that I really, like, want to do with my channel, man, is get people into the stuff that I was into and really show them it's like, guys, you have no idea what you're missing out on. You have no idea what the current industries are trying to sell you, how bad it is. You know, it's like you look at the David Michelini and J. Michael Straczynski runs on Amazing Spider-Man. You look at Peter David's run on the Hulk. You look at all that kind of stuff. And you start to realize, yeah, Unk's got a point. Okay, so what we're going to do real quick is we're going to grab some masking tape. Although some recent does slap hard. X-Men in 97 for sure. Well, yeah, X-Men 97 is done in the spirit of X-Men the Animated Series, so what we're going to do is take a strip of this, cut it a little bit off, And masking is simple. All you do is you take the strip you cut off after the paint is dry, and you just press it on. Like so. And then if you want to make sure that it's in there, just take a pair of tweezers. Doesn't need to be super... And just very lightly press down. So that way it's good and in there. And then we just do it again. Small masking tape like this is good for edges. Because I'm not looking for these yellow pieces to cover all of the surface area. I'm just looking for them to cover a portion of it. See how that wraps around? Because what's going to end up happening is I'm going to take bigger pieces of masking to wrap around the top of this to make sure nothing gets in there. And then the rest of it will get painted red. So it's not hard to do. It just is a process. And you just have to be patient with yourself when you do it. One thing that I constantly tell people whenever it comes to painting that you never want to forget to do, that some people will start to do whenever they're like doing really precise work, is they forget to breathe. And what happens when you do that, your body just stops getting oxygen, and then your body starts to panic, and then you fuck things up. So, because I had people ask me a long time ago, like, how I do water slides so well, and I said, I just keep breathing. Like, I don't get stressed about it. I don't worry too much about the water slide. I just breathe. Make sure I'm breathing. Make sure that my body's getting oxygen, because if the body still gets oxygen, it's easier to keep it relaxed. And it looks good. It's exactly where I want it. This one needs to get stuck down a little bit better. And then just what I'm going to do, I have a bigger roll of masking tape that I keep on my desk. And then this will go right here. This will go over the rest of it that I don't want painted. And the reason I do it this way is because I want to make sure that the edges are covered perfectly. I don't want them to be there to be any gaps, because sometimes bigger pieces will leave a gap. And it doesn't always adhere as well either. And I'll just give it to the little hat. But that way I know, like, when the reds start to go, the one spot that I want to be seen as white is not going to get hit. And I'll do the same for the other side. I'm going to scissor off the... Do I have any scissors in here? I don't think I do. Oh, wait, yeah, they are. They're on my desk. Am I going to stream Castlevania Belmont's Curse? I don't do gaming streams anymore, dude. Nobody watched them. Nobody liked them. And the problem also is that when I get really focused on a video game, I get really quiet. I have a hard time yapping whenever I'm playing video games. Have a good night, Steven. I appreciate you popping in, buddy. So we have our full coverage there. So we don't have to worry about anything crazy. That's one of them done. Now we do the other. Did a reverse watch on an MG Sananju. It was a long and tedious process, but I loved it. I did the exact same thing, actually. And yeah, it took forever. In fact, part of what I had to do was I had to actually hand paint part of it, which was a bit agonizing, I won't lie. I was not a fan. But it came out pretty good. I just wish that kit wasn't so goddamn sticker happy. Because the stickers on it suck ass. They're really bad. It's one of those things where, like, they just gave it stickers that sucked so many balls it would make Jenna Jameson blush. You excited for the Doom Dark Ages expansion? Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, I'm probably more excited for it than I am the main game. Because they're actually gonna pretty much, looks like just in flat out concrete, just flat out tell everyone, yes, this is Doom Guy. This is the original Doom Guy. And they're gonna tell his backstory. There was apparently a subtitle where you saw someone called Taggart. I don't think it was the Doom Guy that was called that, but for those who don't know, Flynn Taggart was the name of the Doom Guy in the novelizations of Doom. Whereas in the Doom RPG, Doom Guy's real name is Stan Blazkowicz, and is a descendant of BJ Blazkowicz. So I don't know where they're going with it. Are you excited for the new Wolverine game? I will probably not play it until it comes out on PC, but it does look pretty good. And yeah, Commander Keen is also a Blazkowicz. snip that off. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to keep that, but I hope they do. Yeah, I would really like to play that expansion, but I don't actually own Doom the Dark Ages. I only played it on a Games Pass. So I don't know if I'm going to end up buying it. That's the thing. If it's also free on Games Pass, then I will probably definitely be playing it the instant it comes out. As for Wolverine, it looks good. I'm intrigued by it. They gotta bring Jean's jaw in a little bit. They're kind of doing the whole HGH jaw just a smidgen. But it's nowhere near as bad as in Spider-Man 2. Like, legitimately, they made Mary Jane Watson in Spider-Man 2's game look horrible. Made me really, like, wonder what the fuck went on there. Hey there, Lee. I'm doing pretty good. Okay. So now, we have some parts to paint red. Among the myriad of questions I've had since we started streaming again, what is your angle on the new God of War spin-off with Faye? I wonder what the point of it is. I mean, he's dead, right? Like, why is she gonna come back to life at the end of it? Like, what's the point of it? Is my question. Is it a prequel? Like, because I'm pretty sure it's her in the Land of the Dead. Like, I don't see myself buying it personally. Because I'm in, like, whenever it comes to God of War, I'm there for Kratos. Kratos is who I'm interested in. And by the way, I am an avid defender of God of War 4. I really liked Data Boy. But I really didn't understand what they were going for with Ragnarok. I feel like they kind of fucked up some of their momentum with that. Like, there were some elements of it that were good. Some elements of it I didn't understand why they did it. For example, and I say this as a person of Jewish ethnicity, I don't understand why Odin was a Jew and why they cast a wiry Jewish actor known for playing Jewish mob bosses as Odin, the Allfather of the Norse gods. And I really think that was a miscast. Like, the actor who plays him is a very good actor. He does pretty well with the material he's given, but it's not the direction I would have gone with. I thought Heimdall also looked fucking stupid. The only one of the Norse gods, or the only some of the Norse gods just didn't feel like Norse gods. Like, except for Thor. Thor felt like one. Yeah, I get it. He's kind of chubby. He's a chubby guy, but he's built like Eddie Hall. Like Eddie Hall was when he won the World's Strongest Man. Like, he is a fucking tank of a deity. Corey Barlog let the clap get to his head. It's possible. But yeah, like, God of War 4, like, was great. I will defend that game until the day I die. I love it. I'm gonna replay it soon, more than likely. Because the general plot of God of War Ragnarok is interesting. The idea that Odin has become so obsessed with averting it that he has effectively become an abusive, manipulating prick. And it has affected all of the gods. And he's so paranoid about the role that Kratos might play in things because he killed an entire pantheon that he just is trying to, like, it recontextualizes God of War 4 that he was trying to have him assassinated, you know? Well, it was hinted at, but you get my meaning. Like, you get more of that sense, right? And you have an investment in the characters. But I never played Ragnarok myself. I admittedly only watched it. So maybe there's something about if you play it that I'm missing. But I watched Maximilian play it because I wasn't quite sure about it. And from what I saw, again, I could be wrong here. And I don't know what Project Hail Mary is, Jeremiah. But the part of the problem that I had with it was it was inconsistent in its writing. Like, the gameplay seems fine, but the writing was very inconsistent. And yeah, it is, the God of War Ragnarok is like the least intimidating Odin I think I've ever seen. And the least intimidating Heimdall. Like, the Heimdall in that game is just a high school bully. That's really all he is. He's just a high school bully. He's kind of boring. Sci-fi feel-good story stars Ryan Gosling. Yeah, I never played it. Back on the God of War thing. The my anticipation with God of War is it's supposed to be pretty dark. You know? It's supposed to be very grim. And what I appreciate about God of War 4 is it gives Kratos a layer to him that we really didn't get to see before. Almost like what he would have been like if he had never been in that battle where he sold his soul to Ares. You know? And I like him, seeing him like that. He's finally getting to be a father. He finally got to really be a husband. You know? The things that he always wanted. Because keep in mind, he killed an entire pantheon because they took that from him. He is, by his nature, supposed to be a tragic character. Not just a whirlwind fucking blender of violence, though he is that too. So it gave the character some much needed depth, and for me, it kind of enriched the first game, because now we understand like what he really wanted out of his life. And from what I understand, the PSP games are the ones that really gave that idea that all he really wanted was to be a father and to be a husband. But he just got caught up in being a Spartan and all the things that come with it, that he just he fucked up. But Ares really fucked him over more than anything. And he comes to the realization that, like, he's never gonna get it, you know? But and a lot of people also forget, kind of, in the ending of God of War 3, Kratos restores hope to the world. And effectively dies to do so. And God of War 4 also kind of contextualizes that game, makes it feel less like a tantrum. And more like you kind of realize that this guy didn't want anybody having to go through what he went through. And my whole thing is like, I don't want Kratos to just be, you know, the most militant atheist in existence. You know, I like him to have a little bit of complication. I like him to have a little bit more depth. Because he had that feeling in the original game. There was layers to him. And that is how I like my characters, guys. I like it when they have layers. I like them like onions. They have layers. Now, didn't David Jaffe come out and say that he hated God of War 4? Because I saw somebody brought him up in the chat. But I don't know what's up with Jaffe. He seems very hard to please. But yeah, definitely will defend Data Boy. Will not defend Ragnarok. Will not whatsoever. I'm actually legitimately bummed that they're having Ryan Hurst play Kratos when he was the voice of Thor in the game. And I love Ryan Hurst as an actor, don't get me wrong. But they're having him play Kratos instead of Christopher Judge. I absolutely adore Christopher Judge as Kratos, man. Like, I saw some footage of him doing the scene where he where Kratos regains or puts the Blades of Chaos back on. And like he legit shed a tear while he was doing it. And I'm like, God damn. Like, you kind of know at that point, unprompted, that kind of emotions pouring out of him, that he's really in the head of that character. He's really in there. Those are the best kinds of performances. And I'm not shitting on Kratos' original voice actor either. He's really good too. He really embodied that young, brash, violent Kratos. He was great for that role. I think it was T.C. Carson who did it. He was awesome. I just think Christopher Judge just plays a weathered and older and wiser Kratos a bit better. But I think part of the reason that they got Ryan Hurst to do it instead of Christopher Judge, I genuinely think it's because I don't know what studio is doing it, but I think it's because they did not want to be the studio that put whiteface over a black actor. And given that it's probably going to be a multi-million-dollar show. Yeah, Amazon Prime's doing it. Given that it's going to be a multi-million-dollar show, they do not want the smoke of social media going fucking haywire and there being a bunch of think pieces about it and all that other stuff. They just don't want to deal with the they don't want the hassle. Because corporations always take the easy way. Like, it's just kind of what they do, you know. The path of least resistance is oftentimes the one that they choose. Uh, I'm blind. That's where the gold bits go on. They did not put Jared Leto playing Kratos. Stop. It's Ryan Hurst who's playing him. And Ryan Hurst is the guy who played Thor in God of War Ragnarok. He was also on The Walking Dead. He was also on Sons of Anarchy. Don't scare people like that. That's not cool. That is not cool, dude. All right. So, before we close out shop for today, let's pull this masking tape off and see if we did a good job. Oh. Yeah. Look at that. Exactly how I wanted it. Check the other side. There might be sections I might have to spruce up. But it's not looking like it. Oh, that came out great. Hell yeah. There's a little spot on the back end that got red on it, but you're not going to see it when it's assembled, so it's not a big deal. Where's the other one? Ah, here we go. Number 2. Have a good one, Rocker. Came out great. And now the other one. The other side. The Spirit World Man. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautifully done. All right. Looks fantastic. Okie doke. Pretty productive day of painting, if I do say so myself. We got a good chunk of the leg armor for both legs finished. We have the inner frames done. We have, let's take a little bit to do a little cleanup. So we have the inner frame is finished. The paint is drying. I want to wait a bit to see if we need to put another coat of white on it. Sometimes you do whenever you're painting over something. Whenever you're painting over something as a color, it is rather easy to do so. whenever you're painting over something as white is very difficult. It's very time consuming. So I kind of put myself in that position with this, but that's okay. It's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. Oh my gosh. All right. So before we take off for today, let me close this out. I don't think I missed any super chats. Let me check. We got I want to thank everybody, by the way, who donated. Yeah, I didn't miss any. So we got all of that. And yeah, got some people that renewed their memberships. Pretty good day. Pretty good day of work. So with that out of the way, that concludes this week's stream. We'll be back next week, 2 days in a row. So on Thursday, we will be doing another painting stream. I'll probably schedule it on Thursday. It'll probably be around 5 o'clock, just like today's was. Go for 2 or 3 hours. And my goal when we do that is we're going to do the backpack. So by the time that we get there, I'll have all of these finished painting, and then we will this bad boy will be completely standing up. So, but until then, he will chill on my desk. So to bring this to a close, just want to thank you all so much for showing up and showing out. It is always a big help when people do that, for sure. Next video comes out tomorrow, where we will be doing the best and worst Char clones, and then this weekend I will be working on the Tres Cushionata script. I'll be working on the some stuff for Mecha Files, and then it's on to Double Zeta. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off. I'm gonna order some food because I'm fucking hungry, and because all the chicken that I have is thawing out. So I appreciate all you guys for coming by, hanging out, and I'll just see you guys next week. Take care. That's a hunger burp.